Okay, welcome to our first MECH 1000 video of the semester. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do drawing 1-1 from the textbook. That is this drawing right here. It's going to show us how to use the line command and will also familiarize us with the coordinate system. So typically, it doesn't really matter where you start a drawing, but in this first chapter, some of the drawings tell us specifically where to start. This one is telling us that the lower left corner of our drawing should start at the coordinates 1, 1. So let's do that. Let's start our line there. A couple things before we get started. I always encourage beginning users to turn on snap mode. So if your snap mode is gray like this, you want to come down here and click on it to turn it blue to turn it on. Another thing I'll mention right now is the object snap, which is this icon over here. If that's turned on right now, go ahead and turn that off. The object snap and snap mode have a tendency to interfere with each other. We only want to have snap mode turned on right now. So with that turned on, I'm going to start my first line. Now what snap mode does is it only allows me to snap to specific coordinates. The default setting is set up to be half-inch increments. A couple more things I'll share with you right now. On your mouse, the wheel, if you click on it and hold it down, you can move your workspace left to right and up and down. That's called panning. And if you scroll up or down, you can zoom in and out. So we want to kind of pan over and zoom in so that we can see this symbol that has the X and Y on it. That's the origin. That's the starting point that has coordinates 0, 0. And with snap mode turned on, if I move my cursor over, it jumps over a half an inch. So now I'm at the coordinates 0.5, 0. And if I move it over once again, I'm at 1, 0. And then I snap up to 1.5 or 1, 1. This is the starting point. This is where we want to start, so I'll click here. Now, as a quick aside here, I'm going to back out of this. Sometimes students tell me, well, I've got my snap mode on, but it's not snapping to the coordinates. You have to start a command like the line command in order to jump to those coordinates. So once you start the command, then your cursor will start jumping from point to point. So we want to find that 1, 1 coordinate again. Click on it, and now we need to tell AutoCAD where this line needs to end. Now, this first drawing does not have dimensions on it. It's just laid out on a grid, and these grid lines are set up in the textbook the same way that the grid lines are in our AutoCAD template. And that means that each of these squares is half an inch. So later in the semester we'll have dimensions telling us how big things are, but for now we can just count these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 squares. 20 squares, each one is half an inch, so that means that this line needs to be 10 inches long. So if I just drag my cursor out, I can either count individually all those individual snaps and count 20 of them, but I wouldn't recommend that because you might miscount. Instead, take a look at that highlighted in blue dimension, the 8.5 right now. And as I stretch that out, I want to keep stretching it until I get to 10 inches. That is the length I want, so that's the point I will click on. And I've now made a horizontal line that is exactly 10 inches long. Now, if I undo that, and if I had my, let's see here, let me get my line started at least. Right there. Now, if I had my snap mode turned off, I could make a line maybe that's close to 10 inches. Like that. That's close to 10 inches, but that's unacceptable for what we're doing. The line is crooked and it's not exactly 10 inches. We need to be precise with our drawings, which is why it's really important to turn on snap mode. I really can't emphasize that enough here at the beginning. So let me try making this line again, making sure I start at the coordinates 1, 1, drag it over until I get to 9, 9.5, 10, and click. We need to make sure that our lines are the exact length and exactly horizontal or vertical. The next line, if I count the blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks up, which is 2 inches. So again, I could just drag this up until I see the 2 inches there. But another perhaps more efficient way, the way I tend to do it, is to just drag your cursor in the direction that you want it to go, and then use your keyboard to key in 2 and hit enter. And that makes a vertical line that's exactly 2 inches. Now come some diagonal lines. For the diagonal lines, we should probably just count the blocks. It's 1, 2, 3 blocks over and 3 up. So I'll snap over 1, 2, 3 and up 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and click. That gives me my 2 diagonal lines. And then up 2 inches, over 10 inches, down 2 inches, and then snap 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 over, and come back to where we started and click. And we want to finish this line command now. So we hit escape on the keyboard to exit out of the line command, and now we can start a new line with a new beginning. So I'm going to do the 4 squares in the corner next. I'm going to come down to the lower left corner where I started, and then snap over and up 1 block, and come over 2 blocks, up 2, over 2, and down 2. So there are 2 grid lines, but just 1 inch. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch square. Do the same thing over here. Start it, go up 2, over 2, down 2, and back to the beginning. You will find that there are faster ways to do some of these things. There are a lot of different tools in AutoCAD we can use, but for now we're just using the line command. Okay, next I want to come over here and kind of line up my cursor with the edge of this block and come over 1 square, click to start the line, and then come straight down, escape, start another line, 1 block over, straight down, hit escape. Okay, now we want to make some more squares. These are a little bit bigger. These are 4 blocks, 4 by 4, so that's 2 inches by 2 inches. So I'll just indicate the direction, key in 2, come straight down 2, back to the left 2, enter, and back up to where I started, escape. And make the next one go straight down 2 inches, enter, to the left 2, enter, back up 2, enter, and back to where we started. Over 2, up 2, back to the left 2, and back to where we started. Escape. And let's finish up the last one. Click, move it up, key in 2, enter, go to the left 2, enter, down 2, enter, and back to where we started. And we are almost there. We just have one more rectangle to do. If I just come up 1 block from there, come over to the right, and I'm just kind of almost eyeballing it right now. I know I want this line to end at the same, to line up vertically with the edge of that square. come up 2, back over and down, escape, and we're done. So a couple things, if you make a line, let's say I made these like here, if I drew these lines incorrectly, they weren't quite the right length or angle I wanted to, you can click on a line and that highlights these blue grips. I can click on that grip where it is, move my mouse over to where I want it to go, and click. So we can stretch out lines to stretch them to where we want them to be. Or if we mess up, we can hit the undo button. Or if we're just totally unhappy with our lines, we can highlight them and hit the delete key on your keyboard, or use the erase command to just erase them and start over. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, click. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, click. Escape. Okay, so again, starting at a specific coordinate is really unique to this first chapter. You won't need to worry about that in the future, but I do want you to do that now, so make sure you take a look at the directions, see if the book is telling you where to start the drawing. Keep your snap mode turned on. Make sure you're making everything exactly the right length and exactly the right direction, which in this case is all horizontal and vertical with the exception of these diagonal lines. A couple other things, sometimes people get zoomed out too far, and when you do, once you can, if you can see this, like this block right here is made up of 5 squares by 5, but if I zoom out, those smaller grid lines disappear, and now it's basically what were the heavy lines are now the faint lines, and so basically I'm zoomed out to the point where everything looks like it's 5 times bigger than it should be. Make sure that you pan up or scroll up with your wheel and that you're zoomed in. Take a look at the dynamic input, this information that pops up on the screen next to the cursor, and make sure that it really is 1, 1, and that the length of your line is really 10 inches when you get started. And then once you've done that, you can just come up here to the big red A, do a save as, save it as a drawing. It's going to want to take you to the My Documents folder, but you probably want to save it either to your OneDrive, Zane State College, or save it to a flash drive. And I can show you later on how to then take that saved file and upload it to Blackboard. But for now, that will do it. That's our first drawing. Typically in this class, I will show you how to do one drawing, and then the second drawing you'll be on your own to take the skills that we've learned and apply them. So you're halfway there to your first assignment. Good luck.